What is going on, golf fans? It's your boy Gsluke here with a prize picks preview for round one of the ZOZO Championship. Going to break down the golf course, bring you an idea of what to expect there on Thursday, and then afterwards touch on the weather, and then hop into our top two prize picks props here for Thursday's round. So beginning with the golf course, we've got data golf up, and unfortunately, because it's over in Japan, not nearly as much information on the golf course, but the thing to focus on here is the scoring average, which was right around a half a stroke over par. You can see in the top left. And then moving down further, the winning score was only 15 under, and that was a 5-shot victory. So a lot of the field there in that 6 to 5 under range. Few players got to 10 under par. But you're looking at a difficult track, and when we look at some of the top players, most of them are approach iron level specialists towards the top, and just some of the better players in the field. It's an open field. You do have a lot of the top end PGA Tour players, but also quite a few of the Japanese Tour players, which, the highest one that finished last year was Takumi Kanaya there at 7th place. A few of them there in the top 20, so you'll see a few of them pop off this time around, but it was mostly your elite level iron players that had success, and this was under relatively benign weather. So over there in 2021, you had perfect conditions for Thursday through Sunday. They played this back in 2019 as well, where the scoring average was actually a little bit better. It was closer to even par rather than their half a stroke over, and those were under ideal conditions. But unfortunately for these players, on Thursday, it looks like it's going to be a little bit dicey. So you can see 20-mile-an-hour wind gusts for pretty much the entire day. Sustained winds, they're right around 15 to 16 miles an hour. And probably the biggest factor of all is rain throughout the entire day. And in fact, there's periods where an entire, right around half an inch of rain is going to come down. A quarter of an inch right there between 6 and 9 a.m. It's going to be a handful. I mean, when you're dealing with weather out there, whether it's wind or rain, can cause the scoring averages to go up in a hurry. But when you get wind and rain together, that's when you get an absolute slugfest. That's when you get an absolute slosh out there, something like a stroke and a half, 2 strokes over. And you're dealing with a golf course that was already difficult to begin with. So when we look at this half a stroke over par average, I think it's probably going to play at least a stroke over par, if not something closer to a stroke and a half, maybe even 2 strokes over par. And if it's truly going to rain as much as they're expecting to over there just south of Tokyo, you could be looking at just US Open type of conditions. So when we look at the prize picks board here, even though the strokes board is set for a par 70, that's what we have over there for this track. I think guys just set it like 2 under par, and I just can't help to think, but most of them are going to go over their prop. Now, if anyone's going to go under, it's going to be an elite level ball striker that's able to keep it in the fairway, hit plenty of greens out there. But for me, the first prop I want to touch on here is going to be Christian Bezuidenhout over 68 and a half strokes. So to get to 68, you're going to have to shoot 2 under. I think he goes well over that. The scoring average is going to be close to a 70.5, if not close to a 71, maybe 71 and a half. And for Seabez, though he's a better than average player for the field, he's not an elite level player. He's not a Victor Hovland, not a Tommy Fleetwood, or Corey Connors for that matter, that are elite level ball strikers that even under adverse conditions like we're going to have here for Thursday might be able to tough it out, go out there, have some success. Seabez is a lot more dependent on the putter. He has to be in position before he can go out there and pounce, take advantage of his elite level skill set. So I worry about that for him there tomorrow night, going out there shooting something like a 73, 74. So I'll be taking the over there. But also for some of these just sketchy ball strikers in this mid-tier range, I'd be considering overs as well. So if you're looking for props to take for Thursday's round, might want to look for fades, especially now that the weather is looking as dicey as it is. The second prop I want to give you guys here is a birdie or better matchup. So, with round one, we have the dicey conditions at play. A good way to avoid having to deal with weather at all is just to take a matchup, right? Because both players are going to be playing in pretty much the same conditions. And I'm taking Corey Connors here over Chad Ramey when it comes to the birdie or better matchup, because Corey Connors is a top 10, maybe top 15 player at the very worst in this field. And considering course fit, the fact that he's an elite level player off the tee, both when it comes to accuracy and your distance, he's somebody that I'm just going to have to take here. And then when we further consider that Chad Ramey is a bottom 10 to 15 type of player in the field, it makes it an even better situation to go after. So I understand the thought process by Prize Picks going out there and pricing it the way that it is, but I also disagree with it because Chad Ramey's extremely volatile. He's going to go out there, get you 6-7 birdies every once in a while, but more often than not, he's going to go out there and fall flat on his face. So I would expect that to happen more often than not out there. Chad Ramey to make something like 2 to 3 birdies, and though Corey Connors doesn't have as much upside to get to 6 or 7 birdies, he's also somebody that's more consistently going to get you 4 or 5 on the day, probably closer to 4 rather than 5 most times, which is why his birdie prop, I mean, look at that too. I mean, I considered it, right? It's down here at 4 birdies. I just don't see him getting to 5 all that often. But 4 birdies or better against Chad Ramey is going to win a whole lot in that sort of 50-50 type of proposition, let alone all of the push equity that he's bringing to the table. And with strokes, right, you could take 2 overs for strokes. The issue is, just to give you an idea here, right, and I'm just going to choose somebody at random, just click Ricky Fowler. You get 2.25x, right? So if you take 2 fades in the same direction, you're not going to get nearly the same type of payout. So that's part of the added benefit of going here and taking one of these matchups that you can take, like a Corey Connors that I wanted to point out. There's a few others that I like as well. You know, much like all of the props here, all of the ones that I'm taking for round 1 are on my Patreon page. If I live add any, see the board, see the golf course playing harder or easier than we expect, we can obviously react live, add extra cards, that sort of thing. If you're looking for all of that up-to-date analysis, the Discord server where, of course, I give all those last-second cards, all of the community aspects, able to ask me questions, also other community members, your thoughts, DFS projections that I do for golf and for the NFL are all on my Patreon page. So that's where we'll wrap it up here. Those are the 2 props we're going with, but if you're looking for even more analysis, a lot of it is posted on the Patreon page. But best of luck with all of your slips here for the first round. Again, a lot of fades that you should consider with this just ridiculous weather that we're expecting for Thursday, and on an already difficult golf course. So if I leave you with anything here, it's don't get greedy. If you're going to take overs or try and support players, probably go over here to the birdie or better matchup board, right? And, you know, take them against another player in the field that maybe you aren't so stoked against, right? So let's say you really want to support Victor Hovland here. Maybe, you know, the strokes make sense, but you could also take him over Cameron Young, right? Now, Cameron Young's a really good guy in terms of birdie or better percentage, so that might not be the type of prop to go after, but you get the idea, right? You really like Tommy Fleetwood this week. Probably safer to take him against Mito Pereira, who's, again, an absolute killer when it comes to birdie or better, than taking his over on birdies or his under on strokes. So just, that's the way I'd handle the board, but best of luck to you guys on your end and everything that you're doing. Make sure you check out the Patreon if you're looking for all of my picks, and until next time, guys, let's get this cash. Let's cash out here for Thursday, and I'll catch you guys next time.